Okay, quick deck profile for my Cup list. This is it right here. So quickly, let's go over the card by card. Pagumon eggs. I'm on Pagumon eggs now. I think these are probably better than ever post banlist because it just if you're going to be running BT2 imps, these just feel a lot better to be running than the than Yamons. It just really feels bad when you evolve Impmon BT2 in the back and then swing it and then don't get the extra mil from the Yamon. It makes a huge difference, I think, getting that 2 extra mil. And another fun thing you can do with this with the Pagumons is combo it with Wizard X and Balmon because of the interactions you have in play. Having the Balmon on deletion plus the Pagumon on deletion means that you can they trigger at the same time, and you can play starter Beelze first, then trigger the Pagumon mill, then trigger Beelzemon's alternates effect to gain memory. If I combine that with gaining blocker from Wizardmon, you can effectively shut down people's kill turns, and I feel like with how much slower you have to be with EX Hitmon at 1, that might be a lot more necessary than it used to be. And that's also partly why I'm on 2 cluster, because being slower means you need to be more reliant on removal, both in security and from effect like that. Um, Moving on to the rookies, I'm playing, I think, 14, 13, I think. I could probably go up 1 if I can find some place to cut, but I think I'm fine with these ratios so far. 4 of the BT2 imp because they're important for milling, 4 of the Imp X because they have the nice inherit plus the nice recursion. Um, 1 of the limited one because he's super great for seeing him. Seeing the 1 of usually often can get you win you games because they get you to the trash thresholds you're looking for. Um, then I'm only on 3 starter imp and 1 BT6 imp. I wanted the extra recursion from BT6 imps, or at least try out having it for the extra recursion, especially since this feels like a list that will win more often than not from a large single stack, more so than anything. So having that extra recursion to get back Beelzemon X, or even sometimes just Beelzemon is going to be super important. Um, and I find cutting the starter imp because the warp doesn't feel like it's as crucial, or at least I'm not. It doesn't feel as reliable as before because of without the EX imp, you're not going to mill to 20 as fast as you used to be. Um, so you feel like you're going to be more often relying on a single stack. And you saw me before having to lose the game because this crashed into security. So more and more, I'd rather try to win with a single stack than Impmon Warp. It just doesn't feel like it's as reliable to pull off without the EX2 Impmon extra mill. Let's first talk about the consistency boosting cards. For Iron Mako, super important card, super broken card, more important than ever because of your Impmon being gone, so you need to use it to stack your mill effects more often, and super good for consistency, and it makes up for some of the weird ratios that I'm running here. So yeah, really important to be running it for. And another thing that compensates is the missed memory boost. Like I said before, I feel like I'm going to be relying on making a single stack more often, and missed memory boost sits up for that super, super well. Um, And another thing this does really well is it helps you play around removal. Since you're slower, you're going to be more vulnerable to losing to removal based decks. So I feel like you're going to need to have more ways to basically hide and raising. And Missed Memory Boost is one of those because it lets you to advance your trash count while setting up for next turn. And the extra memory gain you gain from it is super nice to set up for turns where you're climbing up all the way to 6 and then winning the game. And because I'm running these 8 cards like this, I'm totally fine with running just the level 4s, 4 Wizard 1s and 4 Wizard X. I'm running Wizard X because I think Mill 2 plus Mill 2 off Inherit is going to be more mills over time compared to Witch, and because the deck is slower overall, I feel like um, you're gonna be using that more often than say just the immediate 3 mil with the witch. And also really important for the blocker strategy. I think I mentioned earlier where you turn it into a blocker and then turn it into Balmon so that it blocks then floats. And then just the four Balmons because of the just the way this deck is built. Um, Having set up Missed Memory Boost plus Iron Mako, having going into Balmon then up from there is just better, I think, than trying to go for the BT10 strategy where you're setting up in the back because it's like If I'm going second, sure, the BT10 strategy seems fine, but it also feels a little inconsistent because if you don't mill into a Beelze, it feels really bad because then you just get attacked over. And even if you do, sometimes your opponent just has the answer to both. And I think that strategy without this at four, I feel that strategy is also just worse than before. So I feel like I'd rather be all in on the BT the starter deck bomb one. Um, as for option cards, I'm back to four of the Slinger for Rivals Barrage as well as the Mists and the two Slingers. I just need to maximize my mill payoffs, especially because of the loss of this. These are really more important than ever. You gaining the memory from the wizards to extend your turns, gaining the recursion from rivals is more important than ever. Um, and then the mega lineup, two of the each. I still feel like having the third Beals would be nice, but I had to make cuts somewhere because I think I'd rather have the four mist to set up for turns more often. And I think going wide feels worse in some ways. I guess especially against hunter. I mean, I guess this is EX format, so you're not facing hunters, but there can be decks um, that punish you for going wide, like Gallant and yeah, mainly Gallant, I guess, because they'll be able to pop those bodies with their effects and then gain their memory from War Growlix or such. Either way, I just feel like because this is a slower deck and I'm less reliant on just, milling the nuts, I just felt it was fine to go with the two Beelzemons. So far, I felt fine with seeing them enough. Um, it just feels that more often than not, what I'm trying to do is not necessarily float, but to just make the immediate stack and win off of that. So I think 2, 2, and 2 is fine, but you can go up one of these if you would like, if that seems correct to you. It might be correct, honestly. Um, Either way works. And then the last card I haven't talked about yet is the one of Blast Mode. Another card that I was also thinking about trying to include is Bielstar. Bielstar probably would have helped significantly in that scenario, uh, game three in the mirror, where because I lost my Impmon, and if I had another backup one in case it died, then I probably would have could have probably possibly still would have had game. So Bielstar is also a good idea. Probably the big reason why I'm not on Bielstar is like the same conversation we're having over again, where getting to 30 in trash feels unreliable if you don't see your one of. So it's going to feel even brickier in your hand. But maybe the slower game plan overall might benefit for you trying to play in the mid game. I'll try to bring it back in at some point. I just feel like my ratio is already super tight. Um, and that's it for the card by card. And if you guys have any questions, I'll answer them real quick. Today's record right now is 3-3, not 3-1, but 3-0-1. That's not a loss, it's a tie. I tied at the very end to the mirror, and mainly because of both of us having security bombs stopping lethal, and both of us taking a lot of time to think and count out cards. It happens. Got to play faster than that, but the deck is a bit slower than before. I'd have had game if it wasn't for rivals and security, but that's just the thing. There might have been moves I could have done that would have played around rivals and security, but I just felt like the quickest possible because we were on time. That felt like the best move was to try to end it then and there. I think I might have had the blocker play lined up, but I'm not sure if I had enough cards in trash to make it worthwhile. I don't know. I'll probably double check the footage to see. What do I think about calling in this list? I think calling is fine. It works really well with Impmon. I think I just rather have missed memory boosts to set up my turns, right? Like, 'cause if I was gonna cut anything for a calling, I feel like because my ratios are super tight as is, like 13 rookies, uh, 8 level fours, 4 level fives, the calling would be nice, but like the cut feels really bad, and I really want to be playing with the four mist, or at least that's what I'm testing right now. Maybe three is the answer. I don't know. I just really want to see these super frequently because I want to be playing around the opponent's removal as much as I can by trying to set up for the kill turn without establishing anything on the board. And maybe calling is might be over one of the mist is might be the way, but I think either way is fine. I think calling made more sense in Luca's build when he was playing with stuff like Beelstar. Losing EX Imp changes so much about how this deck works, and I think I have more than enough recursion with the Imp on X, BT6 Imp, and the four Rivals Barrage, right? I would have to you have to hard draw into the calling. Why two seventh full clusters? I think I mentioned this before. It's because the deck is slower overall, and you need more ways to stay to not to out your opponent's board if you're just short of killing them. And another big reason, I think the biggest reason to consider seventh full cluster is Chaos Dramon, because I think Chaos Dramon has a good chance of being a prominent deck within Ultimate Cup. And you need to be able to get past it, and one of the ways to do so is to basically bottom deck both, delete it to get through to chew through to its protections, and then throw one or two more protections at it from your hand. Um, but yeah, it also helps you with anti-decking out. But yeah, I think because the deck is you're not going to be killing them on turn 2 or 3 as often because of the loss of Imp on X. So I think the ability to delete things for free is going to be just that much more important. What was the summary on the match against Luca on Reaper? I didn't get to play against Luca. He went 4-0, and in our last round, I tied against the other undefeated, leaving him the only undefeated. Um, would I try EX2 Iron Mako? No, I still think it sucks. Even with the deck being slow overall, the card is just too slow, and you need as much speed as you can get. And the big thing, the big thing why EX2 Iron Mako sucks is that it asks for specifically Beelzemon and not Beelzemon in name. So you can't use it to turn Beelzemon X into a Beelzemon Blast Mode from your trash. And if you can't do that, then that's a real big uh, deal killer for the EX2 Iron Mako. Yeah, yeah, we had a table one tie leaving the down pair as the undefeated. Yeah, funny story, huh? Yeah, I think the Yaman is better, or not the Yaman, the Pagumon is better, mainly because you're going to be on these with EX2 Imp Con, you're going to be on BT2 Imp, and BT2 Imp with if you're playing BT2 Imp, I really feel like you should be on Pagumon. It feels really bad to swing Impmon and have it die and not have the mill from Pagu if you went Yaman instead. I think you're super behind if that happens when that happens. I was like, one way you can beat the mirror is that you just keep them off their bodies and then hope the security saves you, especially if they're relying on Warp Imp to win. It's such a that's such a high risk play to go for because it's usually you need to go for the two check BLs, and that's two opportunities to lose to whatever's in security. And that's another reason to be running the cluster, by the way, is that more security bombs the better, because especially because the deck is slower, you're going to be more reliant on those security bombs to save you on crucial turns. Yeah, yeah, cluster really puts in work against Wargray and Machine for sure. I don't know how relevant Wargray is going to be for Ultimate Cup. Probably not at all. You might see people do that and put some work in that scenario. And Machine also, I think Machine is the big one. I think, especially if you want to just keep them off their five so they can't go into Chaos Draw in the first place. Having just free removal is super nice. Try four. Maybe four is the route, but I feel like that's going to be too bricky even for this deck. You're going to be stuck with them in your hands. You still think Machine is Cope? I don't think Machine is Cope. I think if Machine gets an early stack, you as Beelzemon, I think you just lose. If they make if you ever have a slow start and they get to Chaos X, then it's just kind of over. Unless you like somehow manage to like get the early aggression and put them in lethal range before they manage to put enough analog mans. And it's even better this format because they don't have hunters to worry about. Proof 3 was already too much. Yeah, I played 3 in the regional and it definitely felt like too much. I definitely had lots of moments where I was stuck with a bunch of options in my hand I couldn't get rid of. But that part of that problem was that because I was running 2 in Iron Mako at the time. Definitely run 4 Iron Mako. You more than ever need ways to find your pieces and also stack the mill cards on top of your deck. Taking in BT10 Beelzemon. I'm not sure about BT10 Beelzemon. The on play is nice, but I don't know if it's that relevant. And maybe the memory gain is going to be relevant because of the overall slowness, the deck being a bit slower. I just feel like these are the best Beelzemons to be playing over all around. If you want to play it as like your fifth Beelzemon, then go for it. I think it's not like the worst idea. There might be go wide decks in the format that I'm not considering that might be huge to use BT10 Balmon with, BT10 Beelzemon with. But Witchmon, I think I mentioned it when I went for the card by card. I went for Wizardmon over Witchmon because I want the inherit. Well, for one, I want the inherit because if I mill two off this and mill two off the inherit, that's more mills. And I want the evolve over the same level for the extra draw as well to help me find pieces. And but the big thing is I want the blocker, and because I think blocker is going to be more important now that the deck is slightly slower. So you're going to need to make more defensive plays, and blocker is the way to do it. I feel like which one makes sense if you're going for an ultra aggressive version. But I feel like ultra aggression just doesn't work as well when you don't have EX2 imp at 4. Though I guess the Witchmon DP boost might come up in scenarios where you have to like get past big blockers. But my plan for big blockers is to cluster them.